Welcome back to our third segment of Obtaining Financial Freedom, Part 3. I gotta say, I think you guys have been great as an audience because you've stuck in there. You've asked some very, very good questions. And to be honest with you, we're never too old to learn anything, to do something different, to try something new. Okay? So let's jump into this. Listen to this. It says, the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Actually, the word there for servant is not the right word. The right word that's supposed to be there is slave. Would anybody like to sign up for slavery? Nobody. Anybody? Raise your hand. You want to sign up for slavery? Nobody. Nobody wants to. God is trying to... Easy, Tiger. There's always got to be one in the audience, right? Slave. I'm with you, but that's not what we're talking about here. Rabbi Mitch, come on. All right, so here we go. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. God is trying to get our attention. Stay away from debt. Matter of fact, there's only one time in Scripture that God talks well about debt, and we've already talked about the debt that we owe to love one another as brothers and sisters in Christ. Okay? All right, let's enter in. Recap the debt snowball. What can you tell me about the debt snowball? Somebody. Tell me how to do it. I know it was so long ago, right? Well, tell me, how do we do it? Huh? Yeah, how does it work? How does this idea work? Yeah, you're working on the little one. That's a good one. Give me something else. Is it build strength? Okay, but what else? What else is there? Do you only pay the little one? No. And the minimum payments to everybody, except for the little one, you pay him. And then when you have him paid off, you let it roll over into the next one and to the next one. How do you determine who goes first? How do you determine order? By what amount? The least amount on what? On the payment? Oh, the balance. Yes, the balance. Yes. We put them in order according to the balance. Wait. But I thought we put them in order according to the interest rate. Why? Because there's something psychological about it, isn't there? Right? Sometimes if you go after the highest interest, I'm winning. It doesn't feel like it. Because you went after the big guy. Right? I'm wearing him down. No, you're not. He's wearing you down. Does that make sense? But when you can get rid of the little guy, you go, this stuff works, and you just get at it. It's the quickest way to get rid of debt, okay? Let's jump into this. Let's talk about the baby steps. Let's talk about the baby steps, okay? You may want to take a picture of this when we're done, when we're down to number 7. Here we go. Number 1, the baby step to success is save up $1,000 to start an emergency fund. Save up $1,000. That is the first step. Next step is going to be pay off all your debts using the debt snowball. Okay? Pay off all your debts using the debt snowball. Okay? Number 3. Right here would be great. Thank you. Number 3. Save up 3 to 6 months of expenses. Go back. Okay, let's go over it again. You save your $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. Okay, we're going to talk about an emergency fund in just a moment. Then you go back, you're using your debt, you're using your envelope system, right? Keep control of your expenses. You come back and you begin to use that extra, remember, to pay off the other debts. You get done with that, you come back and you save up 3 to 6 months of expenses. Okay, 3 to 6 months of expenses in your emergency fund. And you might say, well, how do I know 3 and how do I know 6? How do I know which one do I pick? Do I pick 3? Do I pick 6? Is it 5? Is it 4? Which is it? Well, it depends if you have a boring job or an exciting job. I have a boring job. Okay? An exciting job would be a job that you're worried. It's a high-performance job. You're here today, you're gone tomorrow. Right? That's an exciting job. When you're all of a sudden, you're kind of like in a very high pace, high productive, you either win You either eat or be eaten, right? And in that type of environment, you have to perform. You're forced to perform. If not, get out. You're not making the company enough money, we'll get someone else. Someone else will be better than you. You mean I'm gone? Yeah. There's the door. Don't let the door hit you. All right? Number 4. So if you're in that high-performance job, 6 months. If you're in a lower, not a boring job, right, that you're not worried about losing it, 3 months. Okay? Step 4, go back. Invest 15% of your household income into a Roth IRA or a pre-tax retirement fund 401k. We're going to talk about this. Okay? Step number 5, save up for your children's college fund using an educational 529 plan. Okay? Step 6, pay off your home early. Step 7, build wealth and give. Okay? These are the 7 steps to success. If you'd like to take a picture, now would be a great time. If you'd like to take a picture. The tea's still a little too warm. All right. When I see the camera goes down, we're good to go. And we're good to go. Excellent. Okay. Thanks, Francisco. You go, oh, we're good to go. You're not going anywhere, Pastor. Here we go. All right. Let's talk about the emergency fund. Okay? Let's talk about the emergency fund. The emergency fund, every family needs an emergency, but we're out of debt. Every family needs an emergency fund, but I'm a family of one. Every family needs an emergency fund. Okay? I hope no one misunderstood that. Emergency funds are for the benefit of your immediate family. What does that mean? Well, my emergency fund is for who, Ellen Ruby? Tell me. Who is my emergency fund for? For me? For, name a moth. Me? Melisa? And my son, because he's living under my roof, right? When my son leaves the house, and he flies away, and he goes, right? Oh, sorry. Okay. When he flies away, is he covered by my emergency fund anymore? Who covers his emergency fund? He covers his emergency fund. Yeah. Does that make sense? Okay. Oh, whoa. But isn't my emergency fund to cover my mother and my father? No. Why? It says it up there. The answer's up there. They're not my immediate family. They were my immediate family, but there's something about, the Bible says about leaving and cleaving. Got it? Does it mean that I'm callous with my parents? That's not what that means. Okay? Next one. Starting the baby steps amount with $1,000 before you begin to get things paid off. Why? Why would you need an emergency fund of $1,000? Because Murphy will come knocking on your door. All of a sudden, your roof starts leaking. The water heater goes out. And all of a sudden, this house that was supposed to be a blessing is now a curse. Why? Because it was a bad house? No, water heaters go out. Roofs leak. Right? You get a flat tire. You get a car accident. No, that's called lack of you being prepared. That's why you have an emergency fund. Okay? Let's go on. These funds are for relief purposes for what does it say? What? Oh, I'm sorry, could you say it one more time? Unexpected expenses of emergency or necessities. Okay? Oh, they got pumps are on sale at Bloomingdale's. That's not an emergency? Okay, could you give me examples of emergencies then? Help me out. Help Pastor out. What's an emergency? A medical emergency, yeah. Yeah, that would be an emergency. Anything else? Oh, I'm sorry? What breaks down in the car? Transmission. Yeah, that's definitely an emergency. Okay? All of a sudden, this is why I'm making such a big point of it. The tires are worn out and they need to be replaced. Is that an emergency? No. That's car maintenance. You should have seen that coming. You should have planned for it. Does that make sense? It has to be an unexpected. I'm trying to make sure that you leave here with the proper understandings of these definitions and of these words. You understand? Give me other examples of emergencies, please. And a car accident, yes, that's an emergency. A funeral death is an emergency. Yeah, in those cases, yes, those would be an emergency. Yes, those. I'm sorry? A tree falls on your house, yes, but that's why you have insurance, but you need the emergency money for the deductible. You get fired. That's definitely an emergency right there. That's definitely an emergency, okay? Definitely. Good examples, okay? By the way, at the Felicianos, if my wife comes to me and goes, we have an emergency, do we have an emergency? Yes. Probably so, but not guaranteed until I agree with her and say, yes, we have an emergency. Does that make sense? There goes in the rule again. We only have an emergency when both of us are saying, yes, we have an emergency. Does that make sense? Because I might have a solution to her problems. And she goes, oh, well, we don't have an emergency anymore. Or she might have a solution to my problems. She goes, I go, okay, I got you. We ain't got an emergency. Okay, girl. You with me? Yes. Okay. All right. Beware of situations. What situations do you need to be aware of? Number one, lending money in an effort to help others. Watch out. Watch out. Number two, borrowing money from others to cover difficulties. I do not lend. I do not borrow. Best practice is if you can afford to gift them, the requester, the money, then give it and do not lend. Okay? I had a situation, had a family member came up to me and said, oh, Josue, this situation has come up and my utility bill is going to go off and I need your help. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. No, this situation's come up. And I'm thinking, why did you take that trip? If you're going to come to me asking me for money, you've invited me to dip my nose into your business. Okay? That's none of your business. Well, then what do you got? What are you doing calling me? If you're handling your business, handle your business. Right? So they said, did I immediately solve their problems? What did I do first? Somebody knows what I did first. What did I do first? I talked to my wife. I sure did. Because this problem was over $100, right? I told you it was like a couple $100, right? I had to talk to my wife, right? If she's got a problem like that, who's she got to talk to? She's got to talk to me, right? I don't lord things over her, and she doesn't lord things over me. This is my partner. This is my boo. So I said, oh, the situation, and what about the trip? I said that. Yeah, the trip. Yeah. They really shouldn't have this problem. I said, I know. They shouldn't. They shouldn't have this problem. What are we going to do? We're going to do what's right. We'll take care of this. So I called the person back. And I said, hey, we're going to take care of this for you. Don't worry, I'm going to pay you back. I said, this is not a loan. This is a gift. I do not expect to get this back. Who am I talking to? Who am I talking to? I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself in their hearing. Why? Why am I talking to myself? because I need to be clear in my mind that I'm never going to see this money ever again. I'm talking to myself because I know myself. I know that if I don't get this money back, and I'm expecting to it, there goes the relationship. The relationship is flushed. I do not want to see you ever again in my life. Right? Because money, and you might say, well, it depends the amount. No, it doesn't. It could be $5. And money separates relationships. Okay? Money separates relationships. If you have any questions about that, watch all of the white sitcom shows. Days of Our Lives, As the World Turns, Dynasty. Watch all of them, yes. Money seems to separate families. Is it not true? Does drama not mimic reality? It does. You guys know a family. We're not to question time yet. We're not to question time. But please hold it, if you would. Okay? All right? So beware of these situations. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about term life insurance. Okay? By the way, I'm not selling term life insurance. I'm just making you aware of things, tools that are available to kind of guard your home financially. Okay? I'm a pastor. I teach people about the Bible. I happen to teach people about money, but also so does the Sabbath school lesson. So does the Sabbath school lesson, because the Bible actually has something to say about money. I just thought I'd say that, just in case. Unless you are rich, every family should have term insurance. Okay? There is a time when you don't need term insurance. There's a time, but I'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's deal with that during the Q&A. Let me do my presentation first. Thank you. All right, here we go. Term insurance protects your family by replacing your income. You might say, how's that? Okay, well, you actually need 10 to 12 times your annual income of 20-year term. What does that mean, 20-year term? Well, it keeps your payments even for that amount of time. 20-year term is term insurance where the payment does not change up nor down for that amount of time. Okay, but I thought you need life insurance forever. You don't. You don't need life insurance forever. Okay? Whole life insurance is a ripoff. Way more expensive than term insurance. And it functions as an insurance and as an investment at the same time. The only thing is that it's a shell game. Whole life insurance is a shell game. By the way, I speak from experience. I bought whole life insurance before. Okay? And it grows as an investment, and then all of a sudden, when it comes full term, you can have your investment, but the insurance goes away. Or if all of a sudden something happens to me and my wife goes, oh, well, my husband passed, so give me the insurance money. They say, here's your insurance money. You go, well, what about the investment that grew? That's ours. It's an either or, it's not an and. Okay? And it's way more expensive than term life insurance. Okay? Now you might say, well, why is term good? Well, term is just what it says. It's term insurance. It's life insurance. It's kind of like going to the store and going, I want fries. I want fries. Right? You can buy off the side menu, a side tray. You can get waffle sweet potato fries. And guess what you're going to get? Waffle sweet potato fries. Okay? Now, you might say, well, why is it that you say you don't need insurance for the whole time? Well, because there's going to come a time when Melissa's not going to be depending on my income, right? So let's say like right now, my wife is depending on my income. Let's say that I have 10 to 12 times the insurance of my income. So let's say I make $40,000 a year. I have $400,000. Are you with me in the example? 10 times. I die. She takes the $400,000 and she puts it in an investment. That investment, the interest from the investment replaces my income. She gets the same amount a year as if I were still alive and the paycheck just keeps coming perpetually. Yes, absolutely. Term insurance is just what it is, but let's say that I die, I make $40,000 a year in income, so I get $400,000 in term life insurance. God forbid something happens to me. Melissa receives a check the next month because they verify that I'm actually dead, right? They don't want to give money just to give it. She receives a check for $400,000. She takes that $400,000 and she invests it so that she can get an annuity check for the rest of her life. So it's like I'm still alive. And she can continue to live life the way that I was when I was alive with her.
Once you hit 60, Jose, that doubles. Where is that going?
Hold on. Now, hold on. Let me explain to you. That's why I said 20-year term, okay? Now, you're right, because the reason why it doubles and the price goes up is because the older you become, the more likely you are to die. Yes or no? Yes, that's true. Okay, but the goal is 20-year term. So if I am just married, okay, and let's say I'm, I don't know, I'm Hispanic, I'm 25, all right, because Hispanics get married quicker, okay? Yeah, there we go. We're Hispanics. All right, so I'm 25, I get married. I start to get my financial act in order. We're on an envelope system. I get 20-year term. So in 20 years, how old am I? 45. Guess what has happened in that 20 years? I got out of debt. Guess what also happened? I paid off my house. I bought a house, and since I got out of debt so quickly, and in the average about 2 years, I began to pay off my house. So I had my house paid off 12 years later. Okay? Guess what? Does it cost a lot for me to live now? Do you know what I've got? Since I'm a cheapskate and I only do $10 a month. No, I'm just kidding. Do you know what I've got now? I've got money in my wallet. I've got $100,000 saved in a savings account. My wife's got her job and she's working as a counselor. If I die, is she dependent on my check? No, Charlie, she's not. She's got a paid off house. You know what our monthly expenses are a month now? About $700. That's counting gas, utilities, cell phones, right? Insurance. That's taxes because she pays it per month. That's not a lot. She's like, oh, I got that. Right? She's got my retirement that's still doing something. Dude, we don't have any. She's got a little bit of insurance money, but is she dependent on me anymore to live? Does she need $400,000 in term insurance? For what? The house is paid. We're self-insured now. Does that make sense? We are what you would call self-insured. Why? Because we have enough money that we continue to save up, or she's continuing to save it because I'm in the ground already. We've had potato salad downstairs, kumbaya, oh, it was such a good youth pastor. And does this make sense? So we don't need to buy term insurance when we're 60 years old. Why? Because we do not have this heavy financial burden. But at 25, if I die and she's got a mortgage and she's got debt up to her eyeballs, she does need that $400,000, not to pay off the debt, but to be able to have the money to continue to pay it off and live life regular. Does this make sense?
And you're lucky you got married at 22 and not 40.
Actually, that's not true. I'm a real Hispanic. I got married at 21.
You're lucky you started early.
I'm lucky I got her. Here we go. All right. Major purchases. Let's talk about this. Purchases should be saved up for over time. Okay? Major purchases should be carefully considered while getting out of debt. Why? Because if you're trying to get out of debt, you don't get out of debt by continuing to dig down. Okay? Number 3, automobiles are major purchases. They should always be planned for. Always be planned for. Let me see, I think I have one more. Okay, transportation. Sorry about that. Yeah, this thing's going too quick on me. All right, transportation provides mobility, but nothing more. Isn't that true? If you got here in a Lexus, RX 450 hybrid, loaded. Or if you got in here in a Ford Pinto, what's the difference? Well, when people see me in the Lexus RX 450 hybrid with the 21-inch wheels, then they know I'm a good pastor. Really? Are you really that vain? A car is transportation. That's all it is. That's all it is. It takes you from point A to point B. I've seen some cars out there recently that have been very, very old. I mean, like 20 years old, and the cars look good. They're really, really clean. I don't know how they kept them that clean all those many years. Seriously. And guess what? They're dependable means of transportation for that person. I can't believe that car's still on the road. But that's all a car is at the end of the day, is transportation. That's it. Okay? The biggest lie is that we actually need credit to survive. That is the biggest lie that has ever been told to society today. Okay? That is the biggest lie. Welcome. Why is it the biggest lie? Because it is. Here we go. Credit and FICO. Here we go. Watch this. Credit and FICO scores are only a measure of being able to borrow money and pay it back. That's it. That's all it is. It measures that you're able to borrow money, pay it back, borrow money to pay it back. And you might say, okay, in order to keep up your credit score, you need to continue to borrow money. Okay? Credit and FICO ends up being a trap. Here we go. Well, I need to get a good credit score. Why? So I can borrow money. For what? So I can keep up my credit score. For what? So I can continue to borrow money. It's a trap. It is a vicious cycle. It is a vicious, vicious cycle. It has come to a point where actually people believe that your character is mentioned by your FICO score. Right? You walk into a place and you go, they don't even want to know if you have a job. What's your FICO score? You're 550? Yeah, sorry. No. Put the water down. The water is only for people who have 700 and higher scores. Thank you very much. There's the door. Yep, thank you. But the place next door could probably help you. They do help lower income people who've got the credit messed up like you. So thank you very much. Yeah, you can leave now. Thank you very much. Yes. That's not true. Right? There used to be a time when you could actually go into the bank without a credit score and get a loan. Now it's become that anyone, even a monkey, could rate you on to find out if you qualify for the loan or not. Right? They put in your Social Security, boom, you qualify. You don't. That's basically it. Okay? However, there is a way to be able to buy a mortgage without a FICO score, with a FICO score of 0. Do you know what 0 means? 0 means? I'm sorry? No history. It actually means undefined. 0 means undefined. You cannot be defined by your FICO score because your score is 0. Got it? There is something called manual underwriting. And not all banks or credit unions do. Actually, banks have lost their soul. Banks have lost their soul. Okay? But the credit unions that still have a soul actually still do manual underwriting. Manual underwriting. Okay? Let's keep going. The best way is to live without credit. Why is that? Why is that the best way? You don't get into debt. You don't have any trouble. You can sleep like a baby. You don't have any concerns. Nobody's taking your car. There's no risk. You've got peace. That's actually the way that God wants people to live, is with peace. Right? Right? The fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, FICO score. No? Peace. Peace. You have a question? Afterwards, please, if you would. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That was it, but you can't, when you're buying plane tickets and things like that, you gotta have.
No, you don't.
If you buy, renting a car, if you're buying a big purchase, you want that insured.
There are still companies that will you may have to put more down. Like, for example, let's say that I had a checking account and I had $25,000 into it, right? And I said, no, you need a credit card. And I said, no. They'll say, okay, we're going to have to put a hold on your account for $2,500 or $3,000. Go ahead. Yeah. Money's there. Go ahead. They usually put a hold somehow on some money, and it shows up there as you'll look at it and you'll find it. So some companies will do that. Correct.
Use your credit card. If they screwed up, you call the credit card company and they'll say, okay.
Okay, you have the same benefits of a credit card when you swipe your ATM card and they say, is this debit or is this credit? And you say, run it as a credit card. You get the very same benefits as if it were a credit card. So I don't recommend swiping your ATM as a debit card. Swipe it as a credit card, and you have the very same benefits. Why? Because it'll say the name of the credit card company on the front, even though it's an ATM card. It'll be a Visa. It'll be a MasterCard ATM card. Run it as a credit card, and you have the same benefits. Okay? All right, any questions? Yes?
So I don't know what you mentioned before, so pardon me if you might have addressed this.
Sure.
But if you are trying to say invest, because a lot of times
That's the next lesson, which is tomorrow morning at 10. I'm sorry? You sure can, but I'm just letting you know that I'll see if I can answer your question, but if it's going to be answered tomorrow, then I won't answer it until tomorrow. Yeah, go ahead.
it's just that if you don't make an effort to grow your credit, like I didn't, because I didn't understand it is a cycle, and you have to use it the same way they want it to use us. So if you can borrow more, and you borrow less all the time, then when you get ready to invest, you don't have enough of a credit, it seems, access or whatever the terminology is. You're only good for 10,000. No, we're gonna look to her, so she's got 80,000 that is proven. You know what I mean? So there isn't much that you can do. So if we aren't taught that way, then we're always employees. We're always working for someone. We don't have access we don't have credit to leverage. So I don't know about no credit, because then you're trying to use your own money and you were really trying to be smart, maybe sometimes use somebody else's money, or
Especially in real estate, people have used other people's money and they didn't use their own for investments, and they've made,
And they've also lost their shirt. Let's be honest. Some have.
Some haven't.
And guess what? Sometimes they've been at the whim of the market. The best way that God says for you to live, we talked about it in Romans, let no debt remain outstanding, except the debt to love one another.
But what happens if you use it responsibly?
yeah,
Because
that's
we
what I'm
don't-
talking
We
about.
pay off, we purchases, online that are insured.
Mhm.
We want to make sure, because I've called so many times, they've screwed up and the credit card got involved. And, but if you use your credit card responsibly, where you paid off everyone and it's averaged in your budget, it's averaged in your expenses, then you're being responsible.
On the back of the credit card application, it says that they can leverage your interest rate anytime they want, for whatever reason, to 26 to 28%. So it seems to me that the credit card company, you're playing with snakes. And the Bible does say that a snake charmer that gets bit, I think it's really, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me tell you, Max, we had
Sure.
Thank God I had an American Express card.
Okay.
Put those payments on the American Express card.
Okay.
And they committed fraud. The American Express gave me all that money back. So that,
Well, and that definitely,
that would be really, you gotta
well, let's pretend for,
not just paying, but
let's pretend for a moment.
yourself.
Yeah, let's pretend for a moment, and I'm not taking away from what you said, okay? All right, so I'm not contradicting what you said. What you said is true, okay? Because you experienced it, and on top of that, American Express went after them for the fraud. So let's pretend for a moment that I was doing a construction thing, right? And I was dealing with the same guy. I dealt with them after you. I just didn't know that they were about this type of business, right? So I went and paid them, and then I got taken advantage of. What is my recourse? Small claims court. Small claims court.
Yeah, we did that, Jose. I'm telling you,
I'm not saying that you didn't do that. All I'm,
we went to court and we got nothing.
really?
Yes, nothing. Nothing.
Yes.
And we paid out all these attorneys. One of them was in,
Yes.
I think the problem with credit,
yeah,
I think the problem
he
with
stole from
credit
us.
is when we use credit as part of our income. Credit is a tool, it's a financial tool that you know how to use. So, you better take it and pocket it into your income. It's really not.
If you don't have the money, you don't use the credit card. That's my rule of thumb.
I would much prefer, if I had the option, to have never gotten a credit card in my life. Currently, yes. Yes, absolutely. I would have saved myself a whole lot of trouble. Whole lot of trouble. Now, where my son is, my son has seen me do this presentation a lot of times, and he was at college. He was over at Delaware State University, which he graduated from. And he was talking to his friends. His friends were talking about, oh, you have to get credit and this and that. And he says, I'm not going to. They started to laugh at him. And he says, you can laugh if you want. My parents paid for my college. You're taking a student loan. My parents paid for my college cash. They bought me my car, cash. So there's nothing that you can say that would say that whatever my parents are showing me doesn't work. It does. It does. By the way, what we're not calculating when we're talking about credit is something called risk. You're not calculating for risk. Okay? The reality is this. How many of you, let's pretend that all of you own a home. Okay? All of you own a home. You too. You own a home. Okay? In this example, everyone owns a home. And you can actually take a second mortgage on your house and pull out $100,000 at 6% interest. Yeah, that's where I was going to go. 6% interest. Okay? And you can invest it in the market and make potentially 12 to 14. Would you? There is something that happens right here. Okay? Something that happens right here, and you go, ooh. It's a gamble. That's risk. That's risk. You with me?
Money that you don't have.
That's money that you don't have. That's risk, and you feel it right here. But yet, we do that with credit card a lot of time, and people end up in distress. Number one reason for divorce is not infidelity. It's not that they fell out of love with one another. Marriage fight and money problems. Number one reason. Now, I got a question. When they signed up for the credit card, did they think they were going to be responsible with it? No. See, the problem is that we always think that we're the exception. I hate to tell you the truth, but we're in church and I have to tell you the truth. We always think that we're the exception. Something could happen, you could lose your job, and then what do? If your emergency fund is the credit card, how in the world does that even make sense? That is ludicrous. That is absolutely ludicrous. At the moment when you're in distress, swipe, swipe, swipe. We got to eat. Swipe, swipe, and it's only going to work for so long. Because what you really need is you need a job. You don't need a swipe. You need to work. You need like 2 and 3 jobs.
I think also, I can understand what you know,
By the way, I think we're done with the online video. David, thank you. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m.
what Cisco was saying is that it's a tool and you have to know how to use it.